traits that you're looking for in a starter? Like, what are the things that make those guys stand out from the other 10?
Well, the non-negotiables is, you can't have penalties, dumb penalties, right? They're gonna call a holding call every now and then, but you can't have dumb penalties, we can't have false starts, and we can't miss assignments.
Staying with that same question, I was gonna ask, when does that change as the calendar moves on? What are you willing to accept now that you won't accept going forward?
I don't know if there's anything. I think as we look at it, we just always want to keep a constant state of improvement.
Mm-hmm.
If we just keep getting a little better every day, and teams are that way. Everybody wants to say this is the team on the first game. Teams either do this or they do this. You know, you either get better as the season goes on, or you get worse. And so I think if we have the right growth mentality, I think then if we don't start a guy the first game and he gets better and he's the best guy the third game, then he should start. And that's kind of the way we're approaching it.
You mentioned the first scrimmage. What were your takeaways from your group in the first one, and what do you want to see improve scrimmage to?
I think just consistency is the number one thing. I think we can play a little bit more aggressive and a little faster. We've been throwing a lot of stuff at them, which is good. So when they hear something during the season, they've already done it, which is we weren't able to do that last year. The tough part of that is they're doing a lot. There's a lot on them right now. Every day we put more install on and those things. So I think it's just the consistency and really it's who gets the job done, right?
I was kind of saying, man, I don't think we've talked about this in our other things, mentioned him a lot, or heard a lot about him. How's he doing in that adjustment that was sort of mentioned?
He's doing pretty well. He came from a similar system that they ran. So some of the techniques, some of that's come easier to him, where other things have been a little tougher. So I mean, everybody's their own, but he's had a good fall camp.
From a physical standpoint, how have Phillips and Broaches and also Dellinger? Because I think he's one of those guys that kind of gets lost because of all those early injuries in his career, but he came in with a lot of hype, a lot of talent. Like, how have those guys physically responded?
I don't, and you look at them, and there were significant injuries last year. I don't see them as, I don't look at them and think about injuries anymore. I don't think they play and think about injuries anymore. You don't notice it, so that's a good thing.
That's like the final
rotation wise,
turn, right?
how deep do you want to be as far as a rotation with that group?
It's an interesting point, and I've always said this: if we have a couple guys that are close, then let's rotate them, and let's see where they're at. Coach Smith's always also big on playing other guys. If you can get guys at the end of the season, you want to have healthy guys, and so if you can rotate some guys and not have a drop off at the end of the season, your guys are fresher and better able to function.
It's a position group that I think for a lot of people who've covered the program for a decade, or you probably hear it all the time, and fans do. There's not a lot of faith. It's sort of a show me situation. Do you sort of understand where people are at on that?
I don't listen to the noise. To me, I know there's some great history of offensive lines at Michigan State in the past, and I've been fortunate. I've met some dudes that have played here that I wouldn't want to mess with. That was pretty cool. But I think it's about us. It's about us going doing our job. It's about us getting better every day. I think I got a group of guys. It's fun to coach them. I think they want to be really good. I think they're willing to work and study and do all those things to be really good. But we just got to keep making that progress, and then we'll see. Sometimes offensive line get like quarterbacks, you get too much credit and get too much blame too. So.
Who are the guys taking on leadership roles in that room? Probably Stanton is one of them.
Yeah, Stanton, experience. There's a lot of them, and it's. I wouldn't say there's a leader. I think there's a bunch of guys that are, and I think this team's doing a good job of helping each other. So I don't. To me, there's not a. The alpha dog in the room. I think there's a bunch of guys that are in that role.
Did Luca be the guy that you've had before? I'm sure he's a good fit for them.
He's been great, just helping, and he's able to, this is what it means, this is what it should look like, and some of that stuff. And I think it's just a good group of young men, really is. Fun group to coach. Now we got to go, because when the bullets start flying, things get hard, and we haven't been through that yet.
That blend of experience with the youth. I mean, you guys brought in some guys, and then you guys inherited some young talent like Stanton. How have you tried to, I guess, juggle that with adding to from the portal, but also getting that next wave ready?
Yeah, and I would rather not bring guys in the portal.
Yeah.
In hindsight, We probably should have been more active in it a year ago because we kind of got decimated in the portal when we first got here, or even before we got here. At the same respect, you know, I think it's important if you're gonna have to fill in spots, and I think we did a great job with the guys we brought in, not just as football players, but the people, the character, the teammates to help everyone else be better.
When you do go shopping in the portal, and I think that's probably the best way to describe it, I mean, you lost some guys at the end of spring ball, going into last year. Is it more difficult to kind of find the guys that can play at this level that deep into a cycle?
Yes. Yeah, I think it is. After the spring, and it's hard to bring a guy in. Luke Newman's a great example. Now, Luke didn't come in until fall camp last year and did an incredible job. You know, the guys that came into the spring are so much further ahead of where Luke would be right now. Not that he couldn't play.
Yeah.
How different is the offensive line in that portal culture versus like receiver or whatnot? Because it used to be, historically, it was a place where guys recruited early. They wanted to go someplace, be comfortable. You didn't see a lot of transferring, that sort of thing. How much has it evolved into some of what the other positions are, and how much is it still a developmental
This
place?
whole thing's evolved. I mean, as you guys know, it's evolving every day, you know, and things are different. I felt pretty good. We went through spring and really didn't lose a lineman, you know, and they all, trust me, they all have options or opportunities. You know, to me, if we can build a culture here where the players buy in to us and their teammates, you know, then it's going to be hard for them to ever want to leave. And so that's kind of what we're trying to do.
You touched on the injury side of things earlier, and I'm curious, when you talk about guys not thinking about it, not having it weigh over them, that's like the last corner you have to round with coming back from an injury. How do guys get to that point in their career?
You just got to go, and that's the hardest thing. You talk about somebody who had a knee surgery, right? There's the physical recovery, you're back to normal, but then there's the mental recovery too. Is this going to happen again? What happens if I step the wrong way? Or, you know, and I think it's just getting confidence, and you know, the medical staff does a great job of, you know, progressing guys. You don't just go from crutches to, okay, you're fine, go. They have a whole progression they go through. But then there's also that football part of it, you know, wondering if you're going to get rolled up again or something's going to happen.
Does camp prepare that, or is it a situation from a mental standpoint that you have to get into a game to kind of overcome?
I think camp does. I think, you know, and I guess, you know, the biggest thing I preach all the time is, you know, we're going to practice how we play, and then we can just go play how we practice. If we have to change something on game day, then we didn't practice the right way.
Do you think people realize? Sorry.
That's it.
Oh, I was gonna say, do you think people realize how beat up your guys get throughout the course of a season?
No.
Like, it's so,
No.
people overlook
You
it
know,
so much.
I think it's, you know, it's a testament to the will and the deal. And again, we're not talking about injuries, but there's hurts. Everybody's, you know, in the game of football, that kind of goes with it. You know, the toughness, the perseverance, all those things, it's kind of makes it special, you know, and especially the other part of it is they're playing for each other, right? We're still a team. That's what's the great thing about football. It's still the ultimate team game. And so, a great team can beat a bunch of great individuals every day.
Ricky, positionally, when you look down the line with him, is he still working at tackle, or is he a guy you can
We've been
flex around?
we've been flexing around with him a little bit, you know. I actually playing him a little bit at center, trying to get him acclimated to that position, just as a skill set, where he can be. You know, there's a little. That's probably the hardest learning curve position to play. There's a lot mentally put on him, and you know, you got to be able to throw a strike every time when a 300-pound guy is breathing on you. You know, that's a little bit of a work. So he's been improving at that, but you know, he's still a young kid, he's still learning.
So we can check out a lot of different ways, I guess, for you.
A lot of different things.
Thanks, Coach.
Cool.